So, okay, I want to ask a question.
Yeah.
Okay, this is not necessarily a fascist, it's more of a communist, but Xi Jinping, right, in China, and he ushered in this age of transformation of China. He was part of people, maybe he was not the initiator, but he
Yeah,
has certainly like exponentially helped to expand their economy.
yeah.
So, will you call such a dictator like a benevolent dictator?
Number
Will you
one, I
call him a
wouldn't.
benevolent dictator?
Number one, I wouldn't even call him a dictator.
I don't understand.
I think he is. I
a
think
dictator.
he's.
He's a
I think
dictator.
he's. I think he's a dictator.
Everyone is saying, if I is saying he think he is. Well, I
Right?
will not exactly call him. I
Okay.
will not exactly call him a dictator.
All right.
But there's something you also need to know with the Communist Party is that it is not exactly a communist party. China is not a party. It's not a country you say is a communist country. Do you understand?
It used to be.
No, they're
But that's
like
what I'm
they're
saying, that right
socially
now-
communist. They're socially and
Yes.
politically communist,
Yes,
but they're
because
economically
everything
capitalist.
with community, and sorry, in communism has to do with putting the interest of the state. Now,
Yes.
what they later found out was that for the interest of the state to also work, your individuals also have to be financially empowered.
Exactly.
Because what they were trying to do before under Mao was the state,
Mao,
the state.
yeah, and
But
Mao was very dangerous. What Mao did to the people
Yeah.
was
So okay, let
was
me ask
crazy.
the question to you. Ifeanyi. Do you think like Xi Jinping is a benevolent, what you can categorize
I
as?
won't use the word
Benevolent.
benevolent. I just
No, I'm saying in the context of how Josh defined it, like someone who prioritizes the interest of the state, like the development of the state, not just his own personal interest.
Mhm.
Is he a benevolent? Personally, for me, I think we can categorize him within that context of a benevolent dictator.
I do.
Like, because he obviously dictatorship is obviously massively flawed. But I'm saying in the context of what was described as benevolent dictatorship, he has actually met those criteria. He has helped to transform the state.
He has not met any criteria because firstly, he's not the only one ruling China. Do you know
There's no dictator in the world that he alone is the one
Yes.
ruling.
It's not just
Even
the party.
Hitler had his own
Yeah.
inner circle. There's no such thing as
Yes.
absolute.
the inner party? You know that the inner party, you might say that people don't have ability to speak, but people in the government had ability to speak. The only thing was just that they had the same sense of distance towards the state, right? But still there was economic
You say freedom.
freedom, and also some form of elections were being conducted. Do you
Bro,
understand?
discard the election points, please.
No,
Like,
you
there's dramatic there's what we call
okay,
like
okay. Let
TV
me
elections.
let me
Alright,
see. There's
let
no
me
form
random.
of election
Yeah.
that does not have influence. See, election. No, let me tell you something. Now, when Trump was almost assassinated, right? A lot of people believed that was Trump winning that election. It was so much pressure on the Democratic Party that they had to ensure that Biden stepped down, because that situation alone influenced so many people emotionally. It was so much.
Yeah, but
You
that
understand?
is allowed by the electoral laws. Now, it's different from a situation whereby you are just carrying out what we call a TV election. That's a TV election. Like what happened in Venezuela recently is a TV election whereby people come out and vote.
Venezuela's own
Calm
was
down. Let
different.
me
We don't
explain.
usually add
Okay,
vote.
I'll use this China point if you want me to do that.
Okay, yes.
In China, the Communist Party, right? They had an election for the new leader of the Communist Party. Not one single member of the party voted against Xi Jinping. Have you ever seen an election where 100% of the votes go to a particular? Is that possible in a party? So we now tell me. Sorry, we call that.
Let the
Yes,
whole people
from-
say
from-
something. I
from-
want to say something.
it is not I would say these systems of these benevolent dictators and benevolent fascists, someone like a Putin, someone like Xi Jinping of China, they tend to do these elections and all these elections because there's still a rival system of government which is trying to prove itself as being better. But I know myself, I am a realist and I see these things. Those elections are TV elections. Even in the Communist Party, you are only invited to join the party before you can even cast a vote. So, and the general secretary still decides who the leader will be. So, if the general secretary is himself and decides the leader is himself,
Yeah, no.
that's fine. But we are looking at nation building here, and we are looking at, you know, these excesses that the will of the people can always lead to, you know. Um, I watched, a documentary about Napoleon and how he ascended into power. Now, a king was dethroned, and it was out of the people's emotions and feeling of being the king, being disillusioned, that it didn't even see what the society was facing. They removed the king and installed an emperor. That was Napoleon, because Napoleon gained power. And was it good for society in general? Yes, it was good for the society in general, because it really advanced the French society, and put new rules in place. And there are still codes that Napoleon established that uh, that still stands till today. So in a way, it's a kind of tricky situation in which the will of the people, thinking that taking the king away and terminating the king would give them more freedoms and everything. They later brought in Napoleon. And then Napoleon proved the point that a benevolent dictator was actually what they needed, because he advanced the society. So, like, this is just what we've been discussing about the will of the people not being right. And then, fortunately for them, they got what would have been good for them at that point, which was a benevolent dictator, someone that would have,
All right.
taken the interest of the
Was
state at
fulfilled.
hand.
Yeah, so if I
And
you can
you
just
know that
go on
worked
add
out
to what you said, like
well.
2 minutes, let's just
Okay. I think it depends on the societies too. Like somewhere like the US, one thing that happened for them was that they got it close to right from the start. Most of these societies that have, like you are talking about, dictatorship or democracy, they are kind of older civilizations. So they've either maybe been ruled by kings in their different tribes, or they've been, one way or the other, someone has always like been a strong man. In the US, they just got the independence from the British, and then the founding fathers came together and said, we don't want to look like this.
yeah.
Because
So from the very beginning, they got their priorities.
that was
Most
same in
most
Australia.
societies, most times though, don't have that luxury of starting afresh. They are usually coming from something already where their mindset has already been conditioned towards a kind of rule, or a kind of government. So them breaking the normal kind of now begins to cause this kind of fracture. That's why some societies, they will now have like democracies and it won't work, and they just revert back to type, like,
Yeah.
should we just have someone
Yeah.
that, as long as the basics are working.
So I think some that
but
yeah.
but anytime, any day, no matter how slow it is, preferentially I'll always take a democracy.